Joe Biden's economy is undeniably strong in almost every respect, so much so that he began campaigning on the media portmanteau Bidenomics, pitching a Reagan-esque narrative with an FDR spin. The combination of industrial policy and pro-union support is rebuilding the economy. The economy is middle out and bottom up, but there's a big problem. Most of America's influential voters are upper middle class professionals who are slightly worse off than before they took office. And they make up the Democratic base. With off-year elections rearview mirror, two major political parties appear increasingly locked in 2024 presidential contest. With economy taking a leading role voters' minds, that's a concern for the president. As polls released this month show Biden struggling to defend his economic policies to pessimistic consumers and workers. Voters don't believe Bidenomics, the New York Times declared last week in a joint poll with Siena that found the president struggling battleground state polls against likely GOP rival Donald Trump. Americans do not have an unusually robust economy, NBC wrote Thursday. In fact, most Americans are grumpy. Half of respondents to a Bankrate survey released Wednesday said their personal finances had worsened since 2020, and nearly 7 in 10 cited an increase in living expenses. A survey by decision intelligence company Morning Consult shows that consumer confidence has fallen for 2 straight months, especially among middle-income households. There seems to be a huge disconnect between what people are feeling and what the data is saying. Aaron Terrazas, chief economist at the job site Glassdoor, told Fortune, blue-collar workers earn big. The economic recovery since the pandemic is unusual in many respects, especially in terms of the performance of less educated and low-paid workers. In contrast to all economic expansions over past 3 decades, wages have risen fastest since the pandemic for workers in lowest wage tiers. The revenge of the blue-collar worker, an anonymous Amazon employee wrote in February. A month in which employers hired 500,000 people but tech companies laid off 10,000 people. This is completely unusual, said Julia Pollack, chief economist for the ZipRecruiter site. The pandemic, labor shortages, and increased labor leverage have been a huge boost for low-income workers. Similarly, wage growth for workers without a high school degree has outpaced growth of college-educated workers. This is the first time this has happened since at least late 1990s. This is a problem because these well-educated white-collar workers now make up the base of the Democratic Party. College graduates support Democrats over Republicans by a 24-point margin. Those without a degree favor the GOP by 12 points. This is culmination of a major shift that began with the Clinton-era New Democrats of late 1990s, who emphasized social progressivism and implemented neoliberal reforms that inflicted